All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to this webinar. My name is Skip Everling. I'm the head of developer relations here at Kolena. I'm going to be talking to you today about AI-powered automation, having to do with streamlining data-intensive workflows with AI agents. It's going to be really exciting. I'm going to show you how to actually build some of these AI agents. Yeah, going to be some good content. We have some time for questions probably if you drop your questions in the Q&A widget here. And without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. Just a quick word about us as a company, Kolena. We're the AI quality company founded in 2021, trusted by a lot of leading AI companies and enterprises, just some of whom are mentioned here. We would love to work with you as well. But these companies have been trusting us for a while now to help them build out high quality AI tooling. We also hosted just last year our first AI quality conference, really amazing conference here in San Francisco where I am. You can see a shot here of the full hall that we had there. It was great. We had a lot of tech representation, technology partners, regulatory partners who were there interested in high quality AI systems. Yeah, we will be hammering on this theme as a company in general. So if you would check out the talks, we have them posted up at aiqualityconference.com. You can see all of the different talks. We had many different tracks, lots of different themes, including some about AI agents. All right, so our agenda for today, this webinar. First thing, I'll start off with just a quick introduction. What are AI agents and how do they relate to workflow automation? Most of you at this point have probably heard of what an AI agent is, but I'll just give sort of a definition and set the stage for why these are so transformative as tools. And in particular, how they're really accelerating workflows with accuracy, efficiency. And then most of the webinar is going to be me actually demonstrating live a few use cases. So building an agent with you and seeing exactly how it can tackle some of these otherwise manual intensive workflows. The first one is going to be an example of due diligence for compliance and underwriting. So automating data extraction, doing things like analysis and risk assessment across financial documents, for example. We're going to be looking at an underwriting use case for a loan. After that, I'm going to take a look at extracting insights from customer interactions. So customer support, you have lots of communications from your customers about a variety of issues, usually from a lot of different data sources, text, PDFs, handwritten forms, audio, video even. We're going to look at using an AI agent to automatically extract insights from that kind of data. And then lastly, hopefully we'll have time for this, but I wanted to take a quick look at just document comparison. Document comparison is exactly what it sounds like. You're comparing two documents, two or more documents. And this, of course, has applications in a huge variety of use cases where you want to be comparing one document against another. Excuse me, skipped it. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and take a look at that in a minute. That one will have to do with, identifying discrepancies, for example, extracting key information. One thing, I didn't mention here, but if you have questions, again, please use that Q&A widget in the Zoom here. Go ahead and drop your questions in, and we will try and answer those as we go or at the end if we've got some time. All right. So to start off, AI agents and workflow automation. Set the stage here. What are AI agents? These are essentially autonomous systems now. We're getting beyond the stage where you just have a chat bot. These are basically intelligent workers where you're combining these foundational AI models, which are very robust now, very powerful, wide knowledge base, a lot of capability, combining those with a memory system, so something that can take in context, that can take in your data, and use and make decisions based on that information and based on the instructions that you give it, the prompting that you give it. And once those instructions are given, it is then able to perform tasks independently. That's the agent part of it. It has agency to perform these tasks without needing continual input from us as human users. And again, they have advanced capabilities. So unlike simple chatbots, which is what you are familiar with at this point, agents can connect to tools. They can run calculations. They can do things like generate deep analysis reports like a domain expert. Uh, these are really powerful because they automate and adapt. And this is what's basically transforming business operations right now. There's this whole wave of new agentic capabilities. Process automation. So they're automating workflows by integrating with tools and APIs. There's a whole variety of tooling out there that software is interacting using APIs for that. And now these agents can do that to perform actions around diligence, contract reviews, data analysis, use cases I'm going to show you here today, and a lot more. And importantly, these can also do continuous learning, meaning they can take in feedback from us as the agent designers, essentially, and in addition to whatever the contextual data that they are taking in as part of their assigned use case. And that makes them better, more personalized, more efficient over time. Basically, unlike a traditional software system that would otherwise require an engineer or whoever to come in and continually adjust based on, fine-grained rules, such as when you see this, make sure you have to follow this particular workflow. That's a bit more automated now. There's a continuous learning component that we can build into these agents, which is very cool, very powerful. Just as an example of there's a huge variety of real-world industry applications. This is a honestly very short list, but I wanted to highlight some of these as ones that are already having traction. Now, these are not futuristic ideas where we'll eventually be able to do these cool things. This is happening now, and these are transforming businesses right now. So loan underwriting, of course, we're going to take a look at that right up front. Automated assessment of a loan application, but we're going to look at credit history, income verification, debt ratios, collateral valuation to determine lending risk and terms, looking at regulatory compliance, customer support, legal document review, financial reporting, policy administration. Effectively, these are roles that a human would otherwise be having to do a lot of manual review of documents, unstructured data of various kinds in order to perform these tasks. And AI agents are at a point where they can take care of much of this. So they're accelerating, they're basically enabling a lot higher throughput with a lot higher accuracy for use cases like these. And again, this is just kind of the tip of the iceberg as far as things go, but these are making a high impact right now already. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get right into showing what it looks like to create an AI agent with Kolena. So Kolena's agent platform is called Restructured, and you'll see me refer to the name Restructured. And this is just a very simple diagram of how Restructured fits in, basically. You're going to have all of your agents kind of sitting in and managed by Restructured. Agents are things that we're going to create, but they take in information from a whole variety of data sources, wherever your data lives, basically. You've got, customer support coming in via email, cloud storage, you've got things connected to AWS or wherever your data, online data provider is. All kinds of unstructured data comes in, is processed by these AI agents. You can have any number of, this stable of AI agent workers, essentially, who are transforming and doing all these processes that I mentioned before for whatever the task is, and generating things like reports or structured information that can be used downstream to, help make decisions about, say, whether somebody is appropriate for a loan, or whether there is a risk involved with a particular decision, or whether there is an action that needs to be taken. So what Restructured is doing is not only helping you to create these agents, but also kind of acting as a simplified way for you and your business to come in and create agents without having to figure out all of the technical details behind the scenes about how do you hook up an LLM to each of these other tools, how do you route queries to the right tools so that the right tasks are being taken care of by the right kinds of models. That's what Restructured is helping you with, and it's acting as a simplified interface to help you manage all of that. So let's do a real demo here. First one, like I mentioned, we're going to do due diligence and compliance. Due diligence generally just requires a review of a lot of information-dense documents in a variety of formats. You're checking for consistency, adherence to policies, or risk-related criteria. It's a work-intensive process because you need to be corresponding a lot of information and making sure that it aligns with whatever policies or rules, and making sure that whatever the downstream decision is has been based fully on the information that's available, and it's done accurately. It's very important that it's all done accurately. And this is where these AI agents excel. So what I'm going to show now is we're going to create an agent in Restructured to handle loan underwriting. I'm going to go ahead and exit this slide deck. And I'm going to jump over here to the Restructured interface. This is the Restructured homepage, if you will. This is where your agents appear when you create them. In this case, I've already created a few, but I'm going to go ahead and step through creating a new agent right now. When you create a new agent, you're just going to give it a high-level objective in natural language. One of the cool things about Restructured here and about creating these agents is that you're doing it all in natural language, and it's going to help us as we go. So in this case, what I want is we're going to take a look at somebody's loan application and a whole bunch of different documents. So what I want is to let's see, loan compliance. I'm just going to give it just a very simple introduction. What we'll do is we take this in, we'll use it to create a name for this agent, but it'll also guide downstream some of the information that we do. And then what we need to do is just provide an example file. Like what kind of context is this agent going to be working with? What kind of data is this agent going to be working with? We support a lot of different file types. Here is just a breakdown of the different file types that are very commonly encountered. Obviously, you've got things like PDFs, Office documents, structured data in things like spreadsheets. We take in images. So these agents are, we're using multimodal models. So you can bring in and combine information of lots of different formats. Of course, all these text formats. Audio, I'm also going to demonstrate a little bit later on how you can use audio in the customer support use case. And of course, email and zip. So I'm going to go ahead and click, oops, I've got to drop in a file, of course. In this case, I'm going to drop in, let's see, hopefully you can see this here. I just have over here some files. These are basically information from a loan application. I'm going to go ahead and drop those in together. These are ready to go. Go ahead and click create. And now these are pay stubs. This is an employment offer. This person is his name is Leonard Koala. I'll show him in a minute here. He let's see, where's his ID? There he is. Here's our friend Leonard Bernstein Koala is his full name, and he is applying for a loan. And what he's provided us with here is some information. So we have a background check for him. We have these credit reports from Equifax, an employment document, pay stubs, bills showing proof of residence, some bank statements, in this case from the Royal Bank of Canada. And here is some information about the lease agreement. And then here's the residential loan application. So this is the context that we're going to be working with. And to get started with our agent, what we want to do is just say, okay, what is the first extraction? What kind of information do we want to be extracting from all of this full context here? And just like when we created the agent, it's all you have to do is provide a high-level natural language start. So first thing I want to know is who is this customer name? I'll go ahead and click continue. What happens here is we take in this prompt, we look at all of the data, and then we actually rework this prompt into a fuller-fledged prompt that is actually going to be more inclusive of all of the data here. So now what you can see is we've actually I just typed in customer name, but now we have this fuller prompt that says extract the customer's full name from the document, look for fields like name, borrower name, similar identifying fields. And that's because we were able to look at this context and know that that's where this information is likely to be found across these different documents. I'm going to go ahead and click create. While that's working, it shouldn't take very long, but I'm going to go ahead and add some more. So in addition to customer name, I want to know, let's see, his annual income, because this is going to be important for us to take a look at whether he qualifies or not. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up over here. In addition to that, let's see here. Oh, here we go. So now what it's done is, instead of just extracting annual income, in this case, we're looking for, because this information is not necessarily specified as annual income across all of these documents. So now, we're not just extracting information, we're actually doing a calculation. This prompt is going to calculate based on this information, and we can rework this however we'd like. In this case, you can provide minimum values or maximum values. Here, we've intelligently inferred that this should be a number. Annual income is a number rather than, say, a string of text or a true-false Boolean or a classification or a table. And click create. In this case, we want to know, let's see, an example of a Boolean. Let's say annual income under 300,000. What's going to happen here is you'll see that it's going to realize that this is basically, I want to know a yes or no question here, and that this needs to be a Boolean. So this is, again, it's refined this. We're using the background intelligence to refine this prompt so that it is much more accurate and likely to get the information that we really care about. And let's see here. Let's also do, let's see, proof of residence. We want to make sure that there are proof of residence documents here. Same thing. This is going to take a look at all the ways that there can be a proof of residence. And in this case, it's suggesting a classification, meaning that these are the types of proof of residence that could be there. And we're going to allow multiple classes, meaning it could say, yes, these things are each present. We could also change this if we wanted to be true or false, if that's all the information that we need. But in this case, it's allowing us to do a bit more complex information. Now, a really interesting one here that I want to show, we want to make sure that the name is consistent across all of the documents. We want to make sure that all of these documents are actually for the same person. Obviously, it's a problem if we're getting documents from different people when we have one person applying for this. So this is going to go ahead and generate an interesting prompt here that I want to show you. So what it's done, whoops. Oh boy, got logged out somehow. What that is doing, it's refining that prompt to take a look at all of those documents and see, oh, I have to do it again here. Okay, sorry about this. And what this is going to do is take a look across all these documents. And you can see here, his first, middle, and last name is Leonard Bernstein Koala. But in some of these documents, it may not list that. Here, it's just Leonard Koala. And so what this should end up resulting in is a flag, basically, suggesting that what is being shown, or what is in these documents, is maybe not necessarily what we're looking for. So hopefully this generates quickly here. Looks like there is something going a little slow with the system here. Good. So the proof of residence ran. So now we can see these are all of the documents, and we can actually see these cited here. So in this proof of residence, we see this is evidence, basically, for this result. And we can see the reasoning that's happened here. Multiple official documents providing proof of residence. It lists them here. And we can also see the actual files that were cited. So each one of these has some evidence that was used to create this proof of residence. And if we wanted to suggest an improvement to change the way that it's looking at something, then we can do that. And that's what I want to show here. Actually, let's see here. In this case, everything is used consistently throughout. But for example, if we didn't want it to allow, a different middle name, what we could do is say, okay, actually, agent, what I want you to do is um, middle names can't be, middle names must be provided. And let's see if this works. But the idea is if my policy, whatever my internal policy is, I can basically tell the agent exactly what I want. I don't have to rely on whatever it's come up with out of the box. And let's see if this changes things. But the idea is if you, whatever your policy is, if you have a specific rule, then you can teach that to the agent. So you can teach it. What I'm trying to teach it here in this case is that middle names have to be provided. We need to have that full name consistent across. And if it's not, then it should return false. And this may or may not come out exactly the way I'm hoping for here. But that's the idea, is that you can be suggesting an improvement to effectively shape how you have the agent respond. Okay, I've got something going on over here in this other window. Sorry, one second. There we go. So after analyzing all the documents, now the value is false because it's detecting that there are some with a middle name and some without a middle name. And because I had given that instruction now, what it did was it refined this prompt to account for that. And now the result also accounts for that. So again, this is a way to basically teach the AI agent the policies that you actually care about, whatever your actual important rules are. Great. The other thing that I wanted to show is, so what happens is each time you upload the set of documents, it's called a run. It's basically a row in the ultimate output that we're creating here. So what this yields is effectively a table in this case. Let me open this up for you so you can see it. But in this case, we'll have a column for each of these, extractions that we've done. It's just one case, one run here. So it's just one row. But you can see that the output is basically this structured format that we can then use. And anytime we upload a new set of documents, so if I were to drag in a new set of documents, or if we have a monitored location where the data lives and we upload some new data to that location, it will create a new run. So just to show that by illustration, actually what I want to show here is you can set up these connections. So what I did to get these files was just drag and drop them in, but you don't need to do that every time. Obviously, that would not be very efficient. This is basically, we were creating a template saying, okay, this is what the information is going to look like. These are the kinds of things that I want you to extract every time you see new data. And so anytime we put in a new set of information, it's going to be running these same extractions. It's going to do that. You don't have to do it every time. You do it one time on an example set of data. And then every time after that, it'll do what you want it to. And that's facilitating this workflow automation. And I wanted to show the connections because this is basically the way that instead of doing things manually, you're going to have effectively like a monitored source and then an output destination. So there are sources and there are destinations. If I go back to that slide just very quickly here, you have the sources wherever the information is living. We're coming into Restructured, and then it's processing that. In this case, we saw it as a CSV file, but it could be connected downstream directly to whatever tools that you're using. And it can be in whatever format you're looking for as well. So to illustrate what I mean here, what I'm going to show for this particular example is a Google Drive connection. So I'm just going to select Google Drive. I've got this folder here in my Google Drive where I've got some data, and I wanted to start paying attention to this particular folder here. I've got it actually set up. I wanted to pay attention to this inputs folder here. I'm going to go ahead and choose that. And so now basically I'm going to enable connections. What it'll do basically every minute or so, it'll be looking at this destination for any new data. And when we have new data there, it'll start running that. So I'm going to jump over to that folder here. This is that folder right here. These are the documents that we already had before, but let's say, I just drop in some of this information. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I've got just these things here. I'm just going to go ahead and move those over to inputs. Basically, these new files appearing in here. It could be via an automated process or whatever it is. When these new files are coming in, basically what will happen is this will get polled basically every minute or so. And when that new information is seen, you can see now we've seen this new information. It's now being processed as a new run. So we dropped this information in. In this case, it was because I moved it manually in a Google Drive, but it could have very easily been from an automated process. It's automatically going to run this. It will generate this output, which we can, again, download manually, but also we can specify a destination. So if, for example, I wanted to have this go to this output folder, this is where, in this case, it's coming out as JSON. I've wanted it to be in this JSON format. That's usable by a lot of downstream tools. I just choose that. So now every time anything new comes into this input folder that we're monitoring, it'll get processed by the agent according to the instructions that we gave it. And then the outputs will come here to this output folder, and we can use that downstream. So just like that, we've already created this agent that can take care of handling a big set of documents. This would otherwise be something that somebody has to do manually, like combing through each piece of information here to make sure it corresponds, calculating this annual income. You can see an example here of actual calculation that's happening behind the scenes. We're choosing behind the scenes the best model to handle each of these tasks. So in this case, we're not just extracting, we're running mathematical operations and making sure that these values are drawn from the correct place and that they are calculated correctly. And you can see here that it's coming from different sources. He's got income from interest and dividends, not just from base salary. So there's intelligence behind the scenes here that a human can do, but now an agent can do, and it can do it effectively at scale. And this is just an example of a few fields that I created, but it could be a lot more than that. So I have another version of this over here. Actually, let's see where I put it. Come back to this one here, right here. You can see I've created quite a few more fields where we're looking for things like, is there major derogatory marks, the length of credit history, no bankruptcy in the past 7 years, net worth greater than 50% of loan amount, things like this. This has been done previously here, so I'll just show that right now. Oh yes, this is another one that I just want to show very quickly. We showed name consistency where the middle name was the issue, but you can also just, initially what we did was we asked just information consistency. That was just the initial prompt. It's also the name here in this case, but that was refined to this. So now we're saying what the AI agent intelligently inferred is that we want to know not just is the name consistent, but are all of these things consistent across all of the documents. That way we're noticing any sign of forgery or anything misleading that a human would need to be would potentially notice. But in this case, because it's automated and because the system has the context, the full context here to know the kinds of things that need to be consistent, this is a very powerful, very accurate way to comprehensively and quickly get insights for something fairly complicated here, like where are there discrepancies in the information. And again, we can provide feedback if we wanted to say, pay attention to this, or don't pay attention to that, or this must be corresponding to a particular rule. That's what this suggested improvement is. It's basically, it's like you're talking to a human employee and you're saying, actually, no, you don't have to worry about that. Just worry about this. And they'll take it in just like, a human employee would, and be able to apply that continuously. Very cool, very powerful stuff. Massively accelerates this workflow. This is just an example of a home loan application, but this applies to every underwriting case, any case where you're doing due diligence. You have a lot of documents, financial documents, real estate documents, whatever it is. Just a lot of information, usually across a lot of different documents that are all in different formats. They don't always look the same. You might have bank statements that look different from other bank statements, but the power of the system here is that these AI models are able to understand that these things are all similar to each other. So in the back end, basically the mind of the AI agent here, it understands the similarities between these things in the way that a human would. A human can see a bank statement from two different banks and understand that they are effectively representing the same information, even though they don't look the same, and the information isn't listed in the same place, or they may use slightly different words for the same thing. But all of that is now capable, capably handled by these AI agents. Cool. Uh, so that's just an example of this compliance agent. I did want to show another example of something a bit more complicated, just as a little addendum here. So this is an agent that I created just recently for a commercial lease document analyzer. We've already run all of these extractions. Let me actually show you the document here. This is a multi-tenant office lease. You see, it's uh, a full document full of lots of information, lots of formatting, all kinds of data that can be extracted. I've shown some of these extractions here. Things like basic information about the lease. But the reason I wanted to show this is that we can do some fairly complex calculations here. So what I wanted to know was, and, I'm coming in as somebody trying to understand this lease, and I want to know, okay, what's the total remaining lease obligation from a particular date? So from the beginning of this month, February 1st, I want to know how much is left on the lease. And the information to calculate that is scattered throughout the document, and it's actually fairly complicated because rates change at different times. So just open this up. You can see the kind of reasoning that's happening in the background. So the remaining lease obligation is based on not just the initial term, so there's this rent and the lease term, so there's some multiplication about the base rate effectively. But things change at different points. So you see at this point, this was the value, but then at this point the next year, this is going to be the value. So in the future, this is going to be a value. And so there are two periods that are being calculated independently here. So you have this period being calculated. It has this particular subtotal, and then the second period where basically the rate will have changed as its second value. And so there's some complex math happening here. It's not just taking a value and multiplying it out. It's actually understanding that these rates are applied to different time periods in the document and then intelligently calculating the result here. So it's just very powerful, and I wanted to showcase this as an example of the kinds of complex information that can be handled very capably. And this didn't take a lot of prompting. I didn't show the creation of this just to save time here, but because we are able to enhance this prompt, starting from just a simple instruction, you can very quickly get to an intelligent answer. Very cool stuff. Just wanted to show that off. Okay. So just to make sure that we're moving along here, I want to show the next use case. Actually, I just wanted to show this just very quickly, just to hammer home here what I'm talking about here. We're talking about accelerating underwriting and compliance with AI agents. You're going to be able to accurately extract relevant information, summarize and spotlight key details, do all the things that are important for whatever your underwriting use case is. Over here is just an example of the kinds of checks that you could be building in very quickly. Just like I showed you, I did 5 to 10 checks here with you in just a few minutes. And the result is you're getting much faster back office turnaround. You're catching mistakes automatically. It's superior in a lot of ways to human effort because humans will often get bored with just simple information analysis, and it's easy to overlook things because it doesn't feel important. But not to an AI agent. An AI agent is extremely diligent and will always follow the rules that you've given it without fail and without being tired. So you can really, what you end up getting is, 100x volume, like the orders of magnitude more volume without compromising on accuracy. Very powerful. Okay. So the next thing I want to show is insight extraction. In this case, we're going to take a look at customer interactions. So the challenge here is, how do we unlock value from customer communication data? You have, let's say you are running a business where you have a lot of customer interactions. You have what's likely to be a high volume, assuming you're successful. You got an overwhelming volume, or maybe if you're having a lot of trouble, overwhelming volume of daily customer interactions across multiple channels. There are insights in there. There are critical insights, but they're buried in emails, calls, and chat logs. And as a human, you might be able to go and see some of those, but it's hard to get a high-level view and hard to get a comprehensive view, particularly at high volume. And you might need to have, hire a lot of people to, if you actually want that information, if you want to have that comprehensive view, you might need to have a lot of support people helping you with that, support employees, because that manual review process is time consuming, and it's prone to error again. So the solution here, which I'm sure you already realize, is an AI agent that can help us take care of this. It's going to help us do automated extraction of customer sentiment, issues and requests. It's going to help us do real-time processing, basically. It's going to help us get to structured output for easy analysis and reporting, so we can understand. And it's especially helpful for pattern recognition across these large volumes. I'm going to go ahead and jump out of this and expand my customer success tabs here. So let me just rearrange my window over here real quick. Great. So let's go ahead and create this agent now. I want something that's going to help me with customer support analysis. Click continue. It's going to basically feed this into creating a new agent. It'll suggest a name for us. Customer support performance tracker. I just want to go with analyst here. So this is going to be our customer support analyst agent. And I'm going to go ahead and just drop in here. Let's see. This is going to be from a fake bank. These are email files. I'm going to show, we're just going to drop in one as an example here. I'm going to just actually arbitrarily choose this one right here. Go ahead and click create. What we're going to do is very quickly, we're going to be able to parse this information. We can see here, it's just a short email, all text. Dear Kolena Bank team, processes transfer of 10,000 USD to Euro yesterday, but the exchange rate applied was significantly lower than the rate quoted when I initiated the transfer. This has resulted in a loss of approximately 700 euros. They provided a transaction reference, and they want to, they want the bank, understandably, to investigate this discrepancy and adjust accordingly. And here's the person. So this is an example of the kind of thing we're getting in. And I say, okay, agent, first thing, obviously, we want to know, what's the customer name? Very important, of course. If this was a bit more complicated, let's say this information here is also included in the context. The AI agent can see this. So if we wanted to know, for example, the email address, we can extract that as well. So all of the information this is an email file. It's not just the body text. All of the information is available to the AI agent. Go ahead and click create there. I want to know, okay, what's the issue type? What are we dealing with here? What is the category, basically? Because, as a business, you're probably dealing with particular buckets of issues very frequently. In this case, because we have some knowledge that this is a bank issue, we're already automatically suggesting, some types of banking issues. I haven't given it any other context other than this single email. And it's now going to suggest, okay, these are the most common banking issues that come up: account access, transaction error, fee disputes, etc. We could obviously change these if we want. If I didn't want to allow one of these, or if I wanted to specify a different category, we could do that. And let's see, I want to get, just an issue summary. So I want it to not just, categorize this. I want to get like a human readable, very quick summary. What is the issue here? So that, say I'm scrolling through and I just want to know. So what it did in the background is that, okay, let's refine this prompt to generate a brief one-sentence summary of the main issue. We could change that and say, generate a bullet point list or whatever it is. But now right away, that's all we had to do. All I had to do was say issue summary. It created a more intelligent prompt. And we're going to get a summary of that. You can see that it figured out here, it assigned exchange rate. Here's the reasoning. The complaint clearly describes an issue with an exchange rate discrepancy. We have a confidence level here, and this is based on, how much supporting evidence there is and how much it corresponds to the prompt that we've given. In this case, it did a great job. Here's the issue summary that it gives. It's just kind of a more concise version of what we had right there. I, of course, want to know things like, what's the account number? It's going to be important information to have extracted. This should be fairly straightforward. And one thing that I actually like trying with these agents, I'll show that as soon as it generates the suggestion here. Go ahead and click required. Is I like having these be a little bit more proactive. So again, to go beyond just extracting information here, what I want to do is, suggest a solution. I want it to actually, again, it doesn't have any additional information here about what the full context is here. I'm sorry, what our internal system is. It's just got this one example. But what we can do is basically have this output suggestion that it will then end up in the resulting table that we've created. So this is, as that's generating, this is the one row. Basically, we're setting up this template. We can add in a whole bunch more. Let me just actually drop in several of those right now. Actually, I've already got it staged over here, so I can just bring that over. But I also wanted to, before I do that, just an example of another way to get these coming in. So these are email files. Let's say you are monitoring a support email inbox. You can connect that directly as an email source. So that's going to be this Gmail connection. In this case, I have it monitoring my own personal skip@kolena.com email address. And I want to say, okay, this is just a rule basically, but anything that I send to myself, so anything that's coming from skip@kolena.com, I want you to take that in. I want you to ingest that into this agent and run it through that flow that we've just created. It's as simple as that. You can provide whatever kind of rule set you want. This is just for demonstration purposes. But now let's say I want to send in a complaint here. This is an email that I staged a little while ago. It says, "Hi, please listen to the following audio recording about this issue I experienced." And I'm attaching this audio file. I'm just going to send that. And what that will do is every 60 seconds or so, basically, it's polling again to see if something has met the criteria to be ingested by this source. And that will end up showing up here as a new run in just a minute. It'll be a new row. It'll have not just the text of the email, which was fairly basic. The actual core content there is actually in the audio file, and those will be together alongside. Right, enable connection. Missed that there. Great. So now this toggling, again, the enable connection is if you want to be pausing that connection for whatever reason. We have this enable connections toggle. I forgot to trigger that there. Thanks, Mohammed. Great. So there we go. This is the new information coming in. And rather than waiting for that to load, I'm actually just going to show you this one that I have staged over here, which has the exact same information. This is the same file. Sorry, the same email that was sent in. Here is the audio file.
Dear support team, the mobile check deposit feature in your app has been failing consistently for the past 3 days.
So you can see that this person is having an issue with their mobile check deposit. We've already run some extractions here. It's the same stuff that's being extracted over here right now. It'll only take a minute longer, but just to move along quickly. The customer sentiment's not happy. We got an issue summary here. Mobile check deposit feature and the bank is consistently failing and crashing. This is all transcribed from the audio. This text was not provided. This was extracted from that context. This is a cool example of the suggested solution. This is just, this is again the AI without any additional context, but it could be coached to provide certain types of suggested solutions. So what it's done here is actually drafted a potential response. Like, here's the kind of thing that this customer might want to hear based on the sentiment that they wrote in with the issue that they wrote in, and the kinds of things that might be able to be done. And this is all automatic and can be, sent downstream, so that, let's say you actually do have, a second stage customer support system where you want some of these to be, presented to your customer support agents right away as like a potential solution. Maybe you don't want it to have the full context, but you can have it be the whatever is most useful for your process. And this is going to, again, massively accelerate the amount of volume that you can handle. Not just because you're automatically getting this information that would otherwise take some human inspection, such as, like, customer sentiment or whatever. We're not just extracting that information. We're also using the power of these LLMs in the background to help us generate solutions that correspond to accelerating that workflow and making things much more efficient. Great. So yeah, just for time purposes, I think I'll probably start to move on here. But the idea is, again, we have these connections. You can have an inbound source, an outbound source. You are sending in files of whatever type to correspond to a case, like a run, in this case is what we're calling it, and automatically generating that output. And you can do some very cool stuff with that. One thing I'll show just very quickly, that document comparison use case. So let me actually see if I had a slide for that. Document comparison. Document comparison. I don't have any slides for that. Great. Is effectively, let's take a closer look at this here. We have two versions of this stock purchase agreement, notice of exercise and stock purchase agreement. This is the original version, and then there is this updated version. You can see that there are some changes here, changes that were made to the document. In this case, they're shown as additions or subtractions in the typical style. And what I've done previously is I just, I prompted and I said, what are the document changes? Effectively just, that prompting. And then it was refined to look at this more completely. And what we end up with is actually this table. So this is the last output type that I didn't show yet. But now, we're not just getting a single value as an extraction, we're actually getting the full table of extraction. So now we have a row for every change across these two documents. So section 1A had an addition. Here is the description of that. There was a modification here in section 4.5. There's deletion here later on. These are the documents that were referenced. Here's the reasoning that was provided. And this is, a simple case of understanding, as soon as something changes, let's say, you get a new version of any kind of document, this will automatically, immediately be able to account for what those changes are. And then if something downstream needs to change based on those, then that can be very quickly taken care of. So for example, if you know that something related to section 1A is important for a particular policy or automation that you have, then that can be automatically fed downstream. This would be automatically coming out in that JSON format in this case, which I was showing earlier. That can then be used downstream immediately. So this is very surprisingly accurate and is able to, basically, if a human can understand these documents, like we can understand what these, we can understand that this means, it was removed, then these AI agents can also do that. And that's, again, corresponding to them acting like accelerated human workers. So again, a very powerful use case. Cool. Actually, I did also want to show this just very briefly because I think it's very interesting, very cool. This is an example of handwritten information, just to showcase. This is an image. It's a PDF, but obviously it was from a photo, a real life document. This was a contractor's application for payment. I want to zoom in on a particular part here. You can see here that we have these lines, and there are some values filled in, but some values are missing. And what I asked it to do is, okay, extract the contractor's application for payment. That was the prompt that I provided, and that's what's here. It was refined to this. So now the system understands that we're extracting all line items and corresponding values from the contractor's application for payment section, including lines 1 through 9. So that's these lines here. So it understood what we were looking at, what we were talking about, and understood that there were lines that needed to be extracted. And what's especially cool about this is that not only are we extracting these values, we're also imputing values. We're calculating values, where here you can see the contract sum to date, which is line 1 plus 2. Here is blank in the document, but here we actually have the value. This calculation has been made for us. So these values, there's actually, we're getting more information than is otherwise immediately available in the document. And we're able to understand, the system is able to understand, we basically in the backend, we're intelligently routing to whatever kind of tool is appropriate for this, whatever kind of AI agent is best at this. We're using best-in-class OCR systems to detect in this case, and then we're using the contextual understandings of these foundational models and routing to models to help us with calculations where appropriate. Basically, again, able to intelligently handle a lot of work without having to handhold or specify things in the way that software up to now has required you to do. So there's just a lot more autonomy with these AI agents. They can handle a lot more of the next step of something. You don't have to say, okay, make sure you are doing this exact step. It can understand that there is more involved. We didn't tell it that it needed to calculate that line. It understood that that would be something that was important because we wanted to get the full value here, and it knew that these values were provided and available to be calculated. So it's a proactive step, doing more again than what traditional software would otherwise enable you to do. So I just wanted to show that as a very cool use case. So we're running low on time. I'm going to go ahead and jump to just the last few slides here. But if you have questions, I will open up that Q&A widget real fast. Let's see. Great. Oh, Mohammed's been answering some questions. Thank you very much, Mohammed, for helping out with the questions. So to kind of this slide kind of brings together not just the product that I've been showing you, Restructured with agents, but the kinds of principles and practices that we, Kolena, are building into these systems. Our focus is about AI quality, high quality AI systems, not just things that are moving fast, but things that are accurate, that are going to be a boon for your business and not a risk. Things that are, that you can trust. Trust is a big part of what we're building into these systems. So we're not just facilitating efficiency and growth, but trust and reliability. And so this is kind of pointing out some of the things that we're doing for when you're extracting values. We're using our intelligence, basically our knowledge here, to automate prompt optimization for the most accurate results. We saw that several times here. We're providing direct citations so that you have evidence for where this information is coming from. You don't just have to trust blindly in the system. You can see that it's pulling. You can go and verify that the information is coming from where it should be coming from, and that you can manually check, do spot checks and things like that. We're doing these quality checks. We have a whole set of quality checks happening in the background to ensure that what you're getting is a high quality result. And we give you a confidence level so that you know how much you can trust it. If at any point, for whatever reason, there's just not enough information to extract whatever you need to extract, then that will still be reflected here. It's not, you don't have to worry about hallucinations, for example, because the system will understand that, I have to guess here a little bit more. There's not as much evidence, and this confidence will come up as low. But when the confidence comes up as high, or even when it comes up as medium, it's often very good. It's just, urging caution in case you want to be verifying this. And we're using lots and lots of different quality checks here to ensure that you don't have to be the one going and figuring this out yourself. Reasoning, obviously, a huge component of this. One of the most exciting things about AI agents and AI in general right now, in this particular era, it's enabling users to understand, trust, and refine AI outputs efficiently. And we're giving full explanations for things so that the logic is transparent and trustworthy. And continuous improvement. This is, again, it's like providing feedback to a human person, where if you tell somebody that they need to be doing something differently, they'll understand the larger context of why that changes needs to be made and that it needs to be applied consistently. And the best part about an AI agent is that they will always do it that way. You don't have to worry about them getting bored or forgetting, which is, again, just incredible to see at scale, because you can do so much more power, so much more throughput, so much more uh, output. If you are excited to try this, like I am, I think it's super cool. Go ahead and email us at restructured@kolena.com. I'm going to go ahead and actually jump to a resources slide here real quick. There we go. You can also scan this QR code. I wish you could click these links in your Zoom, but I don't have that capability set up. But if you want to scan this QR code, or you can just type this into your browser, it's probably faster. Check out the product. We would love to have you try it out and see how you can build an AI agent for whatever your use case is. We looked at just 3 here today. So one about document comparison, one about customer support, one about the compliance and underwriting. And those were kind of examples of these larger sets of use cases. So we have a lot of customers in finance and real estate and healthcare. One thing I like to point out is that we're SOC 2 compliant, HIPAA compliant. We're very careful about not retaining data. We don't use the data to train on anything. We're very mindful about customer data privacy and treating data responsibly and ethically. And last thing, if you want to check out, we're, again, the AI quality company. So we've been around for years and have published quite a bit about best practices for building AI tools and what will yield. We're leveraging our knowledge as a team, as a company, to help you understand the best way to be deploying AI, and now to be deploying agents to help you achieve what you want to achieve. Great. Let's see. We're pretty much at time. Let me see if I can have time to answer a question here real quick. Yeah, I think we'll probably have to wrap up just because we're at time. Thank you all for asking these questions. If for whatever reason you didn't get your question answered, I saw that Mohammed's been helping. Mohammed's our CEO. Thank you very much, Mohammed. If you didn't get your question answered, please email in. You can email here if you want, but you can also email me directly. It's just skip, S-K-I-P, @kolena.com. And we would be very happy. I would be very happy to answer your questions about the product. And again, if you want to try it out, please email us at restructured@kolena.com. Thank you all very much for joining. If you have if you're excited about this, then this it's this is the way to take advantage of what's happening now. This is the AI agent revolution. This past few months and this coming year, it's really a lot of transformation happening, and that transformation is already happening in businesses, particularly with these use cases that we've shown. So this is a way to get a competitive advantage if you want to be, on the leading edge of what companies are doing for these domains. Then this is the way that you're going to be able to do that. And what we've tried to do is create a product that's going to let you get to that stage as quickly and as accurately and safely as possible. All right. Thank you very much. My name is Skip, and I'll see you at the next webinar.